Every Ramadan, I raise money for boreholes in the Gambia. Why? Because the Prophet ﷺ said a drink of water is the best charity. Over the years, Spot has built over 215 boreholes, giving water to more than 100,000 people in crucial places like clinics and mosques. Help me make more, link in the description. Assalamu alaikum guys, and welcome to another episode of Smile to Jannah. What the fish is going on? So let's start with the obvious. I'm sure you know by now. Israel and America in a joint operation have killed the supreme leader of Iran, Khamenei, and his daughter, and his granddaughter, and his daughter-in-law, and his son-in-law as well. Suffice to say, the Iranians are pissed. Yeah, and understandably so. And since then, Iran has attacked American bases that are located in the neighboring Arab countries and certain infrastructure that they claim, hotels, airports, in which you have certain American personnel, and we'll get into that. So the first thing that we want to discuss,
our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen, and sadly, there will likely be more.
4 Americans have been killed. Some say even more, but that's what they're saying to the public. Otherwise, there's going to be complete and utter uproar. And what is he saying? There's going to be more. There's going to be more. And you know, one of the trending hashtags, they were send Barron. Send Barron there. Barron is the son of Donald Trump. Estimates say that about 20% of Trump's base did not want him to attack Iran. He was the anti-war candidate. That's all we heard from him. Him bashing the previous people, him bashing the competitors, saying they love war. That's their legacy. I don't want that to be my legacy. However, ladies and gentlemen, what changed, Donald Trump? What changed?
And I said, this is our first Jewish president.
Yeah. It's true.
Now he's the first Jewish president.
Wait. Look at the way he's just gripsing up the president. Look at the way he's just gripsing him up. Like he owes him money. Yeah, come here, boy. Let the world know the power I've got on you. Just grabbing him by the clavicle right there. And then what did Trump respond? It's true. It's like, I simply cannot deny.
President to serve 2 not consecutive presidencies.
Yes, not American public, not. Let me get him by his clavicle again. Good, Americans. There you go.
Thank you for everything.
That's right. Bad things happened on the second one. Namely, the election was rigged.
So not only is the pro-Israel lobby very strong and powerful in America, and they have been pushing for it, but of course the release of the Epstein files. And I saw some Israeli bots saying, just because of the Epstein files, they would do this? Don't be preposterous. Well, let's look into the history a little bit. Clinton, he invaded Iraq during the Lewinsky scandal. That was a scandal with another woman. Here Trump is being implicated with kids, with a convicted PDF. Of course it makes sense to wage a war because it's going to benefit the military industrial complex, which again is a very big player in America as well. Let's move on to the next point. We can see certain connections being made with the decisions that America and the Western allies have taken in the last few months. The first one, securing Venezuelan oil, because they knew that they were going to attack Iran, and that would have a knock-on effect on oil, because Iran's natural response would be to shut off the Strait of Hormuz that ships 20% of the world's global oil. If that gets shut down completely, if that gets affected, then that affects the whole world. So in order to balance that off so that America and Israel can do its hardcore bombing campaign, they secured Venezuelan oil, right? Also, Imran Khan being in prison makes sense, because if they're doing all of that and you've got somebody speaking out, you've got somebody threatening from a nuclear armed country as well. And let's face it, you wouldn't put it past Imran Khan. He's not just going to sit there like the rest taking it. He's going to be saying something, because Israel has clearly made its intentions clear that Turkey and Pakistan are next. Okay, so the next strategy that is under question is, why is Iran attacking the UAE, more specifically Dubai? Habibi, come to Dubai. Now, Habibi, time to leave Dubai. A lot of people are actually laughing at this video. We're going to see why. Why is he crying like a child? Why is he crying like a little baby? Somebody goes, he's not going to be able to survive a day in Gaza, is he? So the question is, people are asking, why is Iran attacking the UAE? So some strategists have said Iran's obvious targets are the American military bases that are nearby, and both of those are used to getting hit. However, the UAE, Dubai in particular, is not. It's made itself to be like some sort of luxurious place, a place and an oasis of peace, which the bubble has burst. And it is such a big stain on their reputation. That being said, the UAE is also the biggest ally of Israel in the region. And apparently they're claiming that a lot of Americans left the military bases and they were staying in hotels and they were traveling or whatever, and that's why they were attacked. Arab countries are furious because not only are the military bases being attacked, but other places as well. Iranians claim that they are attacking American personnel that are in those places, and they're also claiming that that territory that they're attacking is US territory because it's an American air base or an American army base. And frankly, Israel and America are going to give it everything. So Iran, people are saying they're not going to exactly be following the rules 100%. So the strategy being employed by Israel and America is called the decapitation model. Decapitation model is just when you want to get rid of all the senior leaders for regime change, i.e. a change of leadership in that country. For Israel, they don't really care. They just want anarchy over there, a destabilized Iran, so that they can then move on to the next country, and eventually no country is going to be strong enough to attack them. America, on the other hand, it makes sense for them to have some sort of stability there because they don't really have a good reputation if you look at Libya, if you look at Afghanistan, if you look at Iraq. So one of the strategies being employed is the Mosaic Strategy. Yeah, the Mosaic Strategy means that the army is not centralized. Whilst before you had the army that was spread out and there were different units, but they would have to get their authorization from Tehran, the capital. Now it's been decentralized. They can act on their own accord. So it's more difficult to determine what the action is going to be. But very interesting strategy to see that they haven't put all the eggs in one basket. And because certain leaders of the military have been killed, many, it's not really going to affect Iran's military because they're just scattered everywhere with multiple leaders. So it makes regime change even harder. They kill one Ayatollah, there's another one waiting. Then there's another one waiting. Then there's another one waiting. So regime change actually seems improbable. The next thing being discussed is them not ruling out a ground invasion. Now, those of you that know somewhat about politics, you'll be aware of the Millennium Challenge 2002. This was a war game in America, and they had two teams. One represented Iran, one represented America. And the whole objective of this was, of course, training, but also to show that the American military will decimate Iran. However, if you actually look at the conclusion of that, Iran beat America. Why? Because Iran employed something called asymmetric warfare. Asymmetric warfare is a type of conflict between opposing forces with significantly unequal military power, i.e. one is strong and the other is weak, where the weaker side utilizes unconventional strategies such as guerrilla tactics, meaning you attack, you hide, and cyber warfare to exploit the vulnerabilities of the stronger opponent. So what did the Iranian side in this war game do? Rather than using conventional telecommunications, what they did was they sent motorcycle messengers. America's got these $1 billion aircraft carriers on the sea. Rather than Iran sending their naval military so it can be blasted out of the water. They sent small speedboats, suicide speedboats, that they would go and explode, not costing them too much, not costing them a lot of personnel, but sinking this $1 billion aircraft carrier. So that was very interesting. If you followed what was going on between India and Pakistan, Pakistan also beat India because it also employed asymmetric warfare. And I mentioned about the telecommunications. That's very interesting because I was seeing how the fish did they kill Khamenei. If he's the supreme leader, why have they allowed him to be killed? Surely send him to the deepest of bunkers, which apparently he wasn't in. But here's the two-pronged argument. Number one, Khamenei was very old. Some say he had cancer and his country is somewhat fractured. So him sacrificing himself because he was going to die. Why not die a death that would rally the country together, would give them more of a chance to have a stronger last stand? So that's from the Iranian perspective. From the American and Israeli perspective, the bodyguards of the leaders were tracked, because the leaders didn't use phones. Yeah, if you want to go off grid, you can't be using your phone. Don't believe me? Let's see what Netanyahu says.
But do you have cell phones? You have cell phones here? No. You're holding a piece of Israel, right?
And we know when it comes to these softwares or whatever, they've got a backdoor availability for the US government. I mean, let's just look at OpenAI, yeah? ChatGPT for the uninitiated, to work with Pentagon after Anthropic dropped by Trump over company's ethic concerns. You can see over here, deep cooperation between Microsoft, Google, Amazon, and the US military. So what they did was they tracked the phones of the bodyguards, they tracked their movements, and this is according to them, they tracked their telecommunications, like the stuff they were posting on social media, the calls that they were making. A lot of people are now emphasizing something that the media does not seem to be mentioning, and that is hours before the attack started, the Omani foreign minister went on US television to say that Iran agreed to US terms, that it would not do enrichment of the uranium for 5 to 7 years, achieving Trump's zero enrichment demand. From this, we know that this was not a preemptive war, rather a war of choice. Because for something to be regarded as preemptive, the threat, according to the UN Charter, the threat has to be instant, overwhelming, and leaving no choice of means. So this, by any stretch of the matter, is illegal. Trump, when he addressed the State of Union 3 days prior, he didn't mention anything about this war. He didn't seek permission from Congress. At least Bush before had that whole charade of seeking permission, but Trump didn't even bother doing that. And frankly, if you look at the previous leadership, we've seen this happen so many times. The leaders come, they line the pockets of the rich, they take from the poor, and then they just bomb the Middle East. Donald Trump in 2025 bombed 7 countries. 7 countries. He was supposed to be the anti-war president. So let's be honest, he kind of knows that he's on the way out as well. So makes sense for him to go full steam ahead. But like I mentioned last time, Iran is not like Iraq. Yeah, Iraq had been weakened before. Its military was not as trained, as battle ready as Iran's. Iran has been preparing for 50 years. It's got its own ballistic missiles and the likes. So it simply does not make sense to have boots on the ground. And a lot of people are noticing Operation Epic Fury. That's what it's called, yeah? Epic Fury, EF. Epstein Files, EF. So a lot of these Iranian commentators are saying, yeah, we're fighting these Epstein PDFs. That's what we're doing. Either these people kill kids or they have relations with kids. Some savage lines being dropped. Baby and patients evacuated as Israel attacks Tehran hospital. And the death toll keeps going up. Last time I think I said about 80 school children were killed. Now look at this. At least 153 dead after Israel. They haven't even put Israel. This is the BBC. Look, strike on school. Look, it is Israel. Look, Iran has blamed US and Israel. You know what? Let me get off this site. It's bloody pathetic. There we go. Let's go here. US and Israeli attack on Iran. At least 153 girls killed in strike on school. Do you see the difference between the reporting? BBC, there's a reason why I tweeted this. Yeah, look at this. Harmful if swallowed. BBC News. And then I go, these are rectal suppository pills. Means the pill goes up the backside, never through the mouth. Don't do this, yeah? So BBC, that's where you stick it. This was funny as well, yeah? Now this guy, Avi Yemeni, look at him, 624,000 followers, disgusting Zionist individual. So I posted this, yeah? Gaza was an experiment that the Muslim world let happen. Lebanon was a continuation. Syria was an expansion. And now it's moved to Iran. After Iran, it's other Muslim countries. Avi Yemeni goes, Allah is clearly a Zionist. Look at my response. Avi is clearly a wife beater. Look at this. It's from the Jewish Chronicle, yeah? No anti-Semitism over here. Avi Yemeni, spokesperson for Tommy Robinson, convicted of assaulting his ex-wife. She described being terrorized and feeling like just a vessel for his hatred in statement read out in court. And then the Indian, this guy's so funny. Just woke up to the sirens in the shelter. You're an Indian, bro. You've been exposed as an Indian. And then just the response that he deserves. Don't redeem the code. Why are you redeeming the code? Look, you can see I ratioed him, yeah? Got to be done, ladies and gentlemen, yeah? It's got to be done. Yeah, this woman as well is pretending to be Iranian. She goes, I am new on Twitter. My name is Chandresh and I am from Bihar. Please follow me. So look at this, yeah? After his war plane crashed west of Kuwait, Kuwait residents placed the US pilot in a car trunk. They're taking him to the hospital. And then I go, American soldier put in trunk with groceries and tire repair kit. Savage, innit? Savage. This is what the Americans are giving their lives for. The Goyim, yeah? Look how many times the word Goyim was mentioned in the Epstein files. Why are you risking your lives for this? What cause is this? Iran hasn't attacked America. It's got nothing to do with America. Oh, but they shout death to America. Yes, they may shout death to America, but you guys actually inflict death on Iran. Can you see the difference here? And this one was also interesting as well. This extra from So, she goes, totally on brand for jihadi Muslims. They will destroy Al-Aqsa with an Iranian missile and then blame the Jews. What is she doing? This is called manufacturing consent. I go, Israeli shill getting people ready for an attack on Aqsa. These people are sick. Ladies and gentlemen, there's so much we can talk about. But let's just leave it there. Don't want the video to be too long. Stay safe. Remember the ummah in your du'as and pray for our leaders that they have common sense and they don't put themselves in a position that tomorrow it will be easier for Israel to wipe them out. Let's leave it there. Until next time. Assalamu alaikum.